Call him. Move out the way. I'm gonna step on you. That's what I'm talking about. I'm like right there, Papa. You gotta move, okay? Thank you. Thank you. You wanna get a cameo? Hold on, I got the phone. I'm gonna put that up. Hold on. All right, here we go. Start this back. Start this a little more. Oh, you hit the door and you run back down. You was funny. I need that. What is that? Ta-da. Can't chase this time. I'm not blinded in here and tear everything up. I need the 130 gigabyte. Put 1 terabyte in. See how this does with memory programs. That should be good. Let me see. Yes. You're like, what are you doing? Are you learning? I'm gonna change the screws too.
We're gonna change
push these out, man. That don't mean that play with, right? You know what? We'll change it to the park. You go to the park and watch? We'll change it to the park. Kids gonna be watching and be like, what you doing, Mr. Red? I am going to fly a drone new programs. Yes. Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's my papa. Yes, you are. What you doing? What you doing? Say hi. Say hi, dear. Say hi. Say hi. Look at her. Say hi. Say hi. I didn't even have a banana. You just gotta sit right on it now. Well, I'm gonna snatch it from under them two fives you got. 2 5, 2 6. 2 out of us. Yeah, what's cracking, y'all? I'm gonna go ahead and get into this reading, okay? I shared my grapes this morning. Let's see them. Must be nice to be a cat just to lick your ass wherever you want. Okay, I shouldn't have said it that way. Lick their buttocks. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and get we're going to obviously get into the other readings. You know what? We're just going to start where we're supposed to start, and then we'll finish off with this second book to Terra Infinita, Extraterrestrial Worlds and Their Civilizations. The story is told by the woman who was born in the lands behind the ice walls. I think it's 1 or 2 more chapters, just that. Most Confound Them by Claudia Nocelli. But how's everybody's day going? Pretty good, I hope. So I was chatting with the YouTube staff, man. I was going to ask the mundane question of, and some of y'all might say it's not Monday, but why is it set up with the algorithm to remove people? But I didn't even feel it. I didn't, though it matters that they don't, that they do it, and they shouldn't. Either you want to come back and you're going to go and check it out for yourself and see, because it's just a few too many people. Even though we have gained about 50 new subscribers, it's like a game. And what they don't get is they're making a very bad choice, not a wise one. Let's put it like that. And we'll leave it right there. Yes, 1 chapter. It's fairly short. And then we'll get into the other two. And then we will get into the Book of Giants and then the Book of America. All right. I was reading this last night. I was reading this. Behold a Pale Horse. You would figure with everything that he was talking about, there was no reason to kill him. I mean, he's been saying this stuff for a long time. There are some things he touched on that are questionable, that would regulate possibilities, but I think it was more so he had conversations with people he wasn't really supposed to be having a conversation with. He did it being very comfortable and lacking that 360 effect I keep telling y'all to have. Okay? How you gonna miss the big garbage like that? You know what I mean? If you're gonna be talking to people, make sure you know who you're talking to. Me, I really don't give two rats ass. They're not hiding that no more. That's why they've been trumping up doing what they're doing, you know? I'm hungry. And nothing better than dark chocolate. Oh. But so what I heard was he was conversating with some people, 2 or 3 of them, at a diner of some sort. And in front of that conversation, things were said. People who may have heard something are not lived to say, obvious. And at his home, some of them Lost Boys confronted him and had a shootout. He knew they were there to kill him. And yet his information is out here. I don't know who's making money from it. Where the proceeds of the profits go. I didn't look into it. I don't want to. I don't care. But y'all know like I know. In the beginning of this thing, how many naturalists and herbalists were murdered? You never saw no doctor pushing alkaline medication. I mean, alkaline, vegan, organic, spirulina, or any of those mixes. But now you see them, they're all proud with their ignorant selves standing on the side of, let me see, do I have any over here? I got some upstairs. And I haven't even taken them. I refuse to take them because I know they have heavy metals and toxins in them. I know it. I've had friends tell me, oh, I took that stuff, bro, I got violently ill. And it said, what on it? FDA approved? Like y'all supposed to be paying attention to the FDA? It says Food and Drug Agency. The pyramid they put out there, it's not the original pyramid, which some of us shared 10, 20 years ago. It's routed its surface its head back up all of a sudden. That woman who created it, there was no dairy, there was no cheese, and meat was the last thing in it. The food pyramid had fruits and vegetables, raw. I'm serious. And it had wheats and grains, which are beneficial, fiber. So it boggles you with all the stuff coming out. Who would have more to gain than those who would have more to lose by retiring certain individuals and then putting up the Jeff, I don't want to throw his name out there, but he's an excellent ventriloquist and dummy puppeteer. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. I actually bought some from some melanated people. Do not trust them either. And every time I have used it, the next day I was angst. And I was like, no, wait a minute. When I make it natural, it's not that I'm allergic to beets. Not to the point where I would break out in hives, which happens some 3 or 4 days later. I grew up eating beets, but on this medication, ergo, when I take beets, which is good for your nitrous oxide, the nitrous in you and vascularity and all that kind of stuff, and oxygen support. When I drink it, it affects my heart rhythmia. I get more, I do the breathing exercise and all that, but it's in a way that is far from, you can look it up, far from whatever is normal. It's like something new what I go through. And it's every time. And I still gonna have my beet juice, but I cannot drink the shot. I have to drink little sips. It's still beneficial. Okay, I'm eating one time a day right now. So sometimes you could say one and a half because like a little chocolate, 2 pieces a day. Um, the Ganeo. I might boil one egg, soft boil, or two, but that's really not a meal. You know what I mean? And then I'll have maybe my baked turkey sandwich. That alone, I eat that like half of it, and then the other half will sit there for like 45 minutes, an hour, and 30 minutes, literally, seriously, guys. And then I'll snack on that, and then this one will want to grab the sandwich, and I'll let him go and eat it. You know, I've been contemplating not eating at all. Don't want to get skinny or nothing, but something keeps saying something, and I keep ignoring it. I'm not practical in the thought and not by anything institutionalized or put out there in the media. It's something that I've been feeling for a long time. I just feel like I stopped for 8 days once before, and I felt the best I ever felt. But it is said that you should be able to go at least 2 to 3 months. I've already got doubts, which is normal for our existence, how we are. And that's why I haven't done it. If those doubts were to abate, to go away, excuse me, go away, I probably wouldn't say nothing for the first few weeks, maybe a month. That 7 days, I lost about 2 pounds. But I could tell you it was beneficial. It wasn't the kind you think. Something happened where instead of my body consuming myself the way it was, because I was using coconut water and wheatgrass shots, very minimal too. I mean, I couldn't get around. I have to be somewhere where I can't move a whole lot. Because your body goes through some form of osmosis. I don't know. I haven't walked the whole thing. The most I ever went was 8 days. No, wait a minute. The most I ever went was 8 days. It was, yes. Other times been 3 and 4 days with no food, no water. No food, no water at all. I remember my lips going dry on the third day, the day before I ate, and then my lips were moist. They weren't like they were dry. All of a sudden, they were like normal again. I was like, what was that all about? Here, my thoughts weren't as extreme as far as the process of normalizing what I had become in ignorance comfortable with. So I was unable to be practical in normalizing not having the food and water. Because it was normal to eat garbage. You know what I mean? Or over consume things that I necessarily didn't need to partake in, like vegan donuts, to still appease the sweet tooth, which needed to go away, regardless of having bitters. You dig what I'm saying? And I wouldn't just eat like heat one up. I would heat like 2 or 3 of them up, and then I would have my cold pressed almond milk. But almonds are kind of toxic, people. I just want to let you know. A lot of people have almond milk and they just drink tons of it and they wonder why they're sick. You're still creating mucus. To make almond milk appropriately, you must soak the almond for at least a week in mineral water. We're talking about water out the back of a river somewhere, high in minerals. And in soaking it, then take it out, put it in a cheesecloth or hemp sacks and mash that. And then what you get from there after it's soaked, running water, then that is at least 65 to 70% less the toxins that is in it. It's like acorns. You can eat acorns, but you have to do the same thing. And you must roast them like a water chestnut, or it's very toxic. But it is beneficial as long as minute amounts, you know. So I have not crossed that threshold of no doubts. And that's why you should know see me as being normal, regardless of the things I say. Normal. What is normal? We're gonna get into this reading. I don't want to be too long because my food is warming up. I'm gonna turn it down too, and it's gonna be delicious. Yes, it's the new stew I made. I'm gonna slap that man. I'm gonna slap people mama walking around here. Okay. I really can't wait to read this right here. Not out of Africa. Not Out of Africa has sparked widespread debate over the teaching of revisionist history in schools and colleges. We already know it's all lies. Was Socrates black? Did Aristotle steal his ideas from the library in Alexandria? Do we owe the underlying tenets of our democratic civilizations to the Africans? And we're not democratic society. That's the ignorance of writers. You got to remember this. They research Parliament. You have to remind yourself because I know y'all will be thinking, wait, those terms, those words. When you're digging with writers, ignorance is is an abode. There's a plethora of it. But anyway, do we owe the underlying tenets of our democratic civilization, which we are the republics, no democracy here, civilization to the Africans? Mary Leftowitz, of course, you know who she is, explains why politically motivated histories of the ancient world are being written and shows how Afrocentric claims blatantly contradict the historical evidence. Not Out of Africa is an important book that protects and argues for the necessity of historical truths and standards in cultural education. For this new paperback, and it's not that she don't know the truth, paperback edition, Mary Leftowitz has written an epilogue in which she responds to our critiques and offers topics for further discussion. She has also added supplementary notes and a bibliography with suggestions for further reading and a glossary of names. Okay? Then we have the Washington Post, who states a lightning rod for racial conspiracy theorists, anti Semites, black nationalists, and academic leftists. Scholarly detective work at the Harvard University, and they know exactly who we are. In historical study, there is no such thing as the last word, but this book is the best word so far in the debate about Egypt's influence on classical Greek philosophy. It is also a rattling good yarn. This book, they throw in their deceptive quantums of narratives and ideology. This book will not end the debate on these questions. They must keep separation and division, all right? But it will radically improve its quality. They must subjugate and subvert. They know that they're not meant to last forever. That's why they're doing as most they can to either acclimate or take over the next narrative of melanation. Of course, they're going to die off. Yes, my pale skinned brothers and sisters, you are changing. And every century, every decade, you will further change if things just don't abruptly end. Now, the University of California, pay attention to the names if you choose to look them up. A brilliant, incisive, and eroded critique of the hustle that is Afrocentrism. Now, Diane Ravitch, well, that was Clarence E. Walker. Another one was Key Anthony Applaw at Harvard University. Diane Ravitch at New York University, where they want you to die and not be able to protect yourself from criminals. Mary Leftowitz's courageous book reminds us that history must be based on evidence, openly arrived at and openly argue, not myth, ideology, or opinion. She further reminds us that if scholars abandon the canons of scholarship, then the university itself is in peril and it shouldn't exist because it is a lie. The Village Voice. You are carried along not only by the quality of her argument, but by the scholarly excitement of the hunt. Most of it sure sounds conclusive to me, but it's another narrative painted far away to distract from the reality of truth. That Egypt, Rome, Paris, Germanic Vorherrschaft. All of it existed everywhere, but not by the labels. It's another attempt because we've been shaking the tree so much that they have to reach, and to make a penny they do, and keep the narrative of their ideology alive, even accessing or stepping back into the realm of reality while even still perversing that. But it's an excellent read so far. Excellent read doesn't mean that you agree with everything. It doesn't mean that everything laid out before you, formatted in front of you, is of solid proof. It doesn't mean that is the quintessential end to the debauchery of foolishness. It means that there's more relevance to truth, facts, not facts to change or out of the fiction, but still has or garners more misinformation. And to be able to decipher that is the key. Who's the Joker and the Riddler, or who's the one who can figure out the jokes or the riddles? That right there, bro. I'm like this. Listen, I'm listening to it on YouTube, and I'm like this. And I don't scare at all, actually. But there are things that go boom and a bump. No, forget boom. Forget boom and bump. There are things that go, hello. In the night. Just because you don't hear it, don't mean. I've been telling this one, you can talk to me, stop the nonsense. Lately, he's been doing this. He has actually been talking. I just haven't rose. We don't lower ourselves. Rose to his occasion to have better understanding. Yet today, when he was walking by and he said something, I went right to the door, opened it. He went outside, rolled on the path, looked at me, walked around a couple of plants, sat in the dirt. I walked away from the door because I knew he wanted to go out as he was walking that way. Not because he usually would jump up on the sofa and look out the window. He wanted to be in the sun. He was out there for 15 minutes, and I walked behind him. I wasn't worried about him. He knows doors wide open. And I walked right out there and barefoot and did my thing. And he just watched. No running off in the cars, in the bushes. No chasing the birds. Last night I was doing my arms, my chants, my like getting my different ones, you know. Hum, hum, hum. You ain't gotta come running. And he gets right up under me. It's not the less great we are. It's either you're going to practice these things, unplug your TV, turn your phone off and put it in a dark place, remove your tablets, unplug your computers, and do these ohms. Find that one that you feel so good with and hone into it and better it. Don't they have singing lessons and stuff like that? People are saying. So when I get to the point, I'm not going to do how I really do it, but when I get to here and I hear that whistle, I attempt not to match the sound, but I attempt to match what I'm feeling with that. Then I drop it. There's a sac around your brain for a reason. A sac around your heart, your sternum. There's a reason why everything exists the way it does. So we must step into that. No matter the pain, if it's our last moment or last day, listen to me. They have made a mistake, and a crucial one. They don't even know how to bow out decently. Don't even fret about that. Okay? Let's finish this reading. Chapter 29. Remember, this is by Claudio Nocelli. He has a YouTube channel, Instagram. I don't know about Facebook. I don't mess with that. There you are. Oh, excuse me. Chapter 29, Turning the Human Farm into Eternal Freedom. And there's one more book. I'm going to get into that tomorrow. Or Monday, actually. I understand that you may be wondering, so where did the whole plan go? And it is a question I want to answer before I finish. Changes are going to happen. The plan was never abandoned. In fact, after my father's death, it impacted the Republic more as William was well loved along with Butler, and they represented the face of freedom and the direct link to the known lands. The fight against the custodians never ceased, and we remained steadfast. Is that just good versus evil? It's up to you how you want to look at it. Everything is subjugated against their oppression, manipulation, and control of these lands, as well as other races. Unfortunately, we could not move to the next phase yet, because this takes time. The new humanity has a long way to go on this spiritual path. First, it must free itself from its own mind. I free myself from this pattern. I free this pattern from me that allows this experience, or remember what I taught y'all? Experience or condition, people. Experience or condition. If it is not natural, it means you're experiencing something out of the norm. And if it's a condition, it's obviously not placed upon you. And if it's a pattern, it has nothing to do with normalcy because it creates an experience that you never had. And a condition that never existed, you must free yourself from it. First, it must free itself from its own mind, which controls it and does not leave it even a second to breathe. To be able to silence those inner voices that are nothing more than a custodial control that they implanted, MK Ultra, since the beginning of this last cycle. The thousands of thoughts that came into your minds control you and many times break your dreams. Most of them, I can't do it. I don't know which way I'm going. It's all the things that surround you. Mind control. You and many times break your dreams. Most of them are simply negative thoughts. The competition you are subjected to and the division between you for almost every cause that takes place here are really exhausting and can lead you to the easy path of surrender. This energy drain and sense of constant struggle to any race on any world would have wiped you out long ago, and you are still standing. It only remains for the majority to know where the real enemy is. Their macabre psychological games that generate division among you, and to break this control and conditioning. So people get involved with drugs that murder and kill people, and they murder each other because of that, and then become insatiable without no way out of it. People have been biting for who got on Jeepers and Buster Browns compared to Nike and Adidas. Look who's dressed as far as to go and get that put in your butt, silicone in your breasts, and lace fronts, and men weave testosterone shots and don't want to hold the FDA or the Food Administrations accountable for lowering your testosterone or what's being sprayed in the air by the CIA and Evergreen and a few other places from Britain and all over. Want to fight one another and don't even get why they've been spraying and shooting up things in you. Allegedly. The new humanity has an admirable resistance to adversity and infinite potential for spiritual growth. That's whenever I hear some Negro or Negress talking about, when he married to a pale skin, shut up. Who want to marry your whimpering, drama-filled canoodling behind? You create your own existence without even know how it was perpetrated in the first place. If you can relegate yourself to the true fight, maybe things would change. Same for vice versa, the men as well. The new humanity has an admirable resistance to adversity and infinite potential for spiritual growth, which is something we must exploit and can be taught from an early age. They will instead try to manipulate the children with weapons and distractions, bombard their minds, and continue to try to create robots that follow their dogmas and patterns without question: pedophilia, drags, gay, homosexual, lesbianism. They will use the big media, the men and women recognized by degrees that are only given in the corrupt universities that they call distinguished or outstanding, of which very few have access. They will also use the manipulated part of science, and anyone who gets in their way, they will try to ridicule them first and then attack them in every possible way. I do not mean to leave studies or the universities, but on the contrary, maybe one of the ways would be to enter there and be the best in each field to be able to modify from within everything that is corrupted or manipulated by them. Anyway, we have a totally different system than the current one in these lands. Within our plan is also this: to be able to enhance the greatness of the real scientific advancement. Unfortunately, the ancestral and giant human advancement was destroyed or simply hidden from the new humanity. Listen, within our plan, it is also this: to be able to enhance the greatness of the real scientific advancement. Unfortunately, the ancestral and giant human advancement was destroyed or simply hidden from the new humanity. You remember the brother who made the car that could literally run off of water? Working ex-police officer, ex-military, working security at the school, and he shot down. Always at a layman's term because he bowed out to work with the government. And they had one of the little MK Ultra clones or puppets or whatever, orphans, actually shoot and kill him. He was the first one gunned down. Think about it. Or the lady and then him outside the school. Anyway, many lost their lives. It might just be a great show. Many lost their lives. Excuse me. We will continue with the struggle to make this humanity understand that if they unite in true love, nothing would stop them. That their brothers are out there and also in here waiting for the right moment. That we have never forgotten them. Many lost their lives trying to save them, and it will continue to be so. The ancestral technology will continue looking for the way to end this control. There are many other races that overcame the custodians and were able to free themselves. This is possible, but the human being will not be left easily because he has inside what no other race has. We are the source of life, the possible reason for this great dome, and surely the direct connection to other worlds beyond. We are different and with a potential that few would imagine with all the conditioning received in a life in these lands. We are still in these lands and we will continue standing here fighting together with you. Those who woke up from this bad dream called human farm and want to turn it into an external freedom. Excellent freedom read. Excellent read. Excellent read, wouldn't you say? Heaven Bearers, The Great Reset of 1834 and the Mud Flood. Janine Helen. There she is in South Africa. There's your cameo. Now remember, I've stated before, this is fantasy and romance. Okay? Oh. Like, remember she had got the ride, blah, 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 Quebec. Someone was standing there. She done flamed the dude up. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm going to start from there. Remember, she was going to Edmonton, right? But they were going to Quebec City. And they told her to go ahead and get some rest. Anyway, she wants to ask them, who they are, but decides to let it be for now. She is exhausted and closes her eyes for a little while. She wakes up to the glaring sun on her face, and it is warm, too warm. She opens her eyes and tries to orientate herself. Good morning, dear. I hope you slept well, the old man asks and grins at her. Where? She clears her throat and rubs her neck. It is stiff and sore. How long have we been on the road for? Long. You slept the entire day and night. It's about 8 a.m. now. Judging by the angle of the sun, that is. Us pleasant people don't have the luxury of owning watches, he replies sarcastically, and he takes a look at the fancy ring on her finger, and she feels ashamed and guilty. She looks around her, and all she can see is farmland. It is beautiful and peaceful here, and she feels calm, relaxed, and well rested. He looks directly ahead, and his wife is holding out a big red apple for her. She takes it and immediately eats it. She is so hungry. She's pregnant with twins after all. It is juicy and sweet and quenches both her appetite and thirst. Isn't it funny how great America, known for the red delicious apple, you can't even hardly find them in the store unless they're GMO, but you can find everybody else's apples. Who are you exactly? She asks and takes another bite of her apple. I didn't know there were some older Tartarians. What I mean is that most died before the mud flood happened, didn't they? She scratches herself and decides not to carry on. I'm sorry. That was insensitive. And that is all right, dear. We understand what you mean. Bonnie leans over to the wife and gives her a warm smile. Thank you so much for the apple. It is delicious. The old lady nods twice and smiles. Is she shy or afraid of me? Why doesn't she talk? She asks the old man softly. He frowns gently and looks at her with stern and sad eyes. She has no tongue. They cut it out 15 years ago. Bonnie flinches at the thought and gets angry by what has happened to her people. She wants to kill them all. I am so sorry. She can't hide the horror on her face. Or the sadness in her eyes. We will continue on this path until sunset. Thereafter, you are on your own, dear. We won't go any further. We have sacrificed enough in our lifetime. She nods in agreement and lets her eyes wander off into the far distance. Malcolm, I hope you're okay, wherever you might be, she has in thought. Her cheeks quickly fill with some color, and they feel warm, and she knows he is okay, that he made it home safely and alive. Another 10 hours pass by, and they finally stop the cart and ask her politely to climb off. She is grateful to be on her feet again, but knows the walk ahead of her will be long. She thanks them both, and they hand her some water, bread, and another apple. Take care, dear, and if you ever meet a Kaziel, which I believe you will, tell him we helped you, will you? The old man gives her a little wink and carries on slowly down the road. Of course I will, she mutters under her breath and waves goodbye. She walks for hours and her feet start to hurt. She has no idea where she is going. She just knows she must keep walking. She thinks about Malcolm and her heart misses him. Every inch of her misses him. She thinks about the abominations in her belly and wonders what will happen when she arrives at her destination. What woman thinks like that? Will they accept me? Will they accept me and the babies? She isn't sure, but she knows she must try. She walks for 3 days straight and finally spots a creek. She takes off her boots and flinches with pain. Her feet are raw and she has blisters all over them. She sits a while and the breeze is cooling and calming as it brushes over her wounds, and she stares up into the sky. She squints her eyes, can swear she can see the canopy of a tree, or at least the shadows of it. And she wonders what is up there. Who is up there? Where did all the dead Tartarians go? Or do they merely cease to exist? She ponders that thought for a while, and she shakes her head. No, they must go somewhere. They have to, she tells herself. After all, she still sees her mother in her dreams, so she can't merely cease to exist. She looks around and knows she needs to find another way to get to Edmonton. She can't walk all this way on foot. She puts her boots back on and carries on with her journey slowly. She is hungry and tells herself she needs to find a small town and somewhere to rest for a few days. She hears a train in the distance and she thinks she can see a town. She picks up her pace and hurries along. She is about a mile away and she can definitely see a town and is relieved. It is a small town, but big enough to have accommodations, and she looks for a small hotel or restaurant. There is a human sitting on the sidewalk polishing a pair of shoes, and she is distracted by him. He looks like he's about 13 years of age. He has brown hair and little brown spots on his cheeks, freckles, and nose. She can't help but smile at his cute appearance. Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but I am looking for a restaurant or hotel. Can you tell me where your mother is? Can I help you? A voice disturbs her, and she turns towards the voice and sees a Tartarian man standing with a blade in his one hand and a cloth in the other. She looks at him carefully and feels relieved at the sight of him. Yes, hello, my name is Bonnie. I'm in desperate need of a place to stay and something to eat. She pauses and looks down at her hands in shame. I have no money. Can't help you then. Sorry. He turns and walk away. No, wait, please. Can you not help a fellow Tartarian? Please, I have a long journey ahead of me. What did you say your name was? His eyes move and notice her big belly. Bonnie, my name is Bonnie. He begins to walk away. Daphne, my real name is Daphne, she says out loud, hoping this will get his attention. Ha! Honestly, the best policy. The man stops in his tracks and takes a moment to gather himself. Mikhail, go find your mother quickly, he orders. The teenage boy runs off in a hurry, and the man gestures for her to follow him down the little pathway. He takes her to a small wooden house with a bright blue door. There's laundry hanging on the washing line, and the wind starts to pick up. He walks up to a small stone well and hands her some water. She is grateful and gulps it down as quickly as she can. She wipes her mouth and already feels better. I can't say I expected you, but I did hear about the prophecy. He pulls her face as he glares into the sun and sips some water and pours the rest of it over his head to cool down. The metal cup in his hand reflects the sunlight onto the ground, and she follows it with her eyes while she listens to him talk. A woman comes running over, and she smells like honey and flour. Damn, that takes me back to Grandma. Hello. She takes a good look at Bonnie. What is your name, dear? My assigned name is Bonnie, but my real name is Daphne. She takes a deep breath. Don't even try and hurt me. I have powers, or rather abilities, so you leave me be, she warns them. The woman laughs softly and looks over at the man. My name is Janae. And this is Janae. And this is my brother, Kenya. And people always say, what is that Gmail account with Janesh? Jashe? Don't worry about it. Looks over at the man. My name is Janae. And this is my brother, Kina. We welcome you to our home. She stretches out her hand and gives Bonnie a soft hug and helps her inside of the house. Malcolm spends the next week pretending nothing is wrong and throws himself into his work. Jane is hovering and he doesn't trust her like he used to. He doesn't trust anyone these days, and he feels like this is Malcolm, y'all, like someone is constantly watching him. Her reaction to the news that Bonnie had run off was sinister in itself, and there is something about her that seems very wrong, even dangerous. She tends to his very need, and he distracts himself with work. He starts to work on the plan on how to handle the situation with Samira and the genetically inferior Phoenicians. He will send one of his men with a letter to Asia and see how she will respond. If favorably, he will plan his trip for the very next day and assesses the situation in person. He has never enjoyed ordering the death of his fellow Phoenicians, but it was simply the order of things, a kind of sacrifice to the heaven bearers. At least that is how he saw it. There needs to be death in order to make room for new life. That is what Lisa used to always say, and he can't help but remember that. He thinks about his childhood, and the hair on his arm stands up with the thought that someone like her could raise his children, his two sons. Sons? Questionable. He laughs out loud. He has no idea what gender they are, and he misses Bonnie. He even misses getting angry with her, and he quickly erases her from his thoughts and begins to draft the letters to Samara. I'm read this one and we'll go on to the next. He hands the letter to Jane and asks her to post it immediately. Little does she know that he plans to send another copy of that letter himself. She grabs her coat and immediately hurries off, and he follows her. She walks down the end of the road and turns in the opposite direction of the post office, and he follows her all the way to the opera house. Hollow is waiting there for her, and she hands the letter to him. Hollow, of all people. He is very surprised to see Hollow. Perhaps Azrael has asked him to keep an eye on him, in case he goes looking for Bonnie, perhaps. He posts the letter and then walks back to the house slowly. He has nothing to go home to, and for the first time, he feels empty inside. 2 days later, he receives the news that Ahara killed herself and that she left a note explaining how she couldn't live anymore after having to endure the tragic death of Rune. Malcolm knew she cared for him in her own way, but not enough to die for him. He figured they got whatever ever they could get out of her and then killed her. He isn't sure if he feels bad that she is dead, but he knows he will miss seeing her and Rune when he goes to New York in the future. On to the next one. Woo! Let me stir my stew. Hot second. Well, hot minute. Oh, minute. Oh, this smells so good. No wonder you over here, buddy. Turn it off. It is ready to go. Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is going to be, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, I need some more beans in this bad boy. Oh, you is ready. Oh, you is ready. You is ready. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, it smells so good, man. I can just gobble it up right now. Okay, here we go. Smoking Expositions, 1851-1950, revised from 2019 edition. This is the 2021 by Howdy Mikowski. And that's Chicago. He's Chicago. That's Chicago. Okay. Oh, it was closed. I smell the outside coming in. That's weird. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you the place of fine arts, okay? Swing, 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 swing. They couldn't build that alone in 2 years. The place of fine arts is one of only 7 structures still standing today and is now a museum of science and industry. I read this yesterday. It exhibited some of the finest painting sculpture yet. Okay, so State and Country, here we go, okay? The reason the place still exists today is because it was supposed to have been built with a brick substructure under it. It's plaster, facade. To get insurance for all the artwork, the building had to be fireproof. But why only put brick in this one building? And why did only the art in this building need insurance? Were there no priceless artifacts all over the expo? Why did so much of the other treasures not require fireproof spaces? There are photos of the building several years later, like in 1924. It does look to be in a rather bad state of being when the photo was taken. Is it from being a temporary structure or from being so old? This building will be mentioned again when I share a quote from Bancroft that may, in fact, show that the building narrative of these fairs are complete lies. State and Country. And then you have this little breakdown on here. It says Main State Building is now in Portland, Maryland. In the Dutch Cocoa House, there's a copy of Franeker City Hall, was moved brick by brick and is now an apartment in Brookline, Massachusetts. The Pep's Beer Pavilion moved to the Pabst Mansion and was given over to the local Catholic Church to become a private chapel for the Archbishop. The Norway Pavilion, A. Stark Kirk, was moved to Illinois, then back to Norway in 2015. The final remaining structure is a ticket booth. This is according to the site Digital Research Library of Illinois. Every one of these politicians know exactly who you are and what you are. And the fear before you ascend is to remove the guns so they can act. But the problem is they're still going to trigger certain individuals they will not be able to stop. And I know they won't pay attention to this because they're become delusional in their state and perverse. The ATF. Man, these clowns. Illinois is building like they can write laws. Like rules don't mean crap when it goes against the Constitution, especially for those of us who know better. There was far more at this fair. Each of the 48 states in the Union had their own building. Some were rather simple, some were elaborate. On one side of the lagoon was Illinois' building, made in the shape of a Greek cross. It was 450 feet long by 106 feet wide, and of course included a 152-foot high dome. The California building was 435 by 115 feet, built to look like the old Mansion Church of San Diego, which included its main tower. Here, they displayed all the fresh California produce available as a way of promoting their state as the best place to live in the United States. The Pennsylvania building was the colonial style of architecture and reproduced the historic clock tower with its Liberty Bell. Yes, there was a replica of the Liberty Bell here for the exposition. Oddly, the replica bell seems to have wound up in Russia at the start of the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. Wasn't that all? Yeah, they said 81% of people fighting that were Jews. Study your history. Where the Abkhazarians could still be seen, which you can't see them today. The authentic people of that land of Prussia. What is most odd about the state buildings is the claims at the time that they were all constructed of marble to be permanent buildings. But what is most odd about the state buildings is the claim at the time that they were all constructed of marble to be permanent buildings. The reason having been given was that each state wanted to show the others how great their state was. This information tends not to appear, and this would create division, separation, people, in current books or documentaries about the fair, because you have to start asking when you know that. Why build state buildings out of marble and in parentheses, but not the rest of them? And why tear down buildings built of marble when that would be a very difficult and time consuming job? Secondly, they could have been used for many functions afterwards, as was the supposed only permanent building, the Palace of Fine Arts. My feeling is that this is a glitch in the story, one that is usually glossed over, but should not be. The state buildings are said clearly to have been built as permanent stone structures, yet they too came down with the rest. So, what is the true story? Close to 100 countries had buildings as well. France built a recreation of the Palace of Versailles. Germany, a reconstruction of a Bavarian town hall, and Japan had a beautiful pavilion on the wooded island of flowers and trees. Every country came to showcase its art products and country. Famed German arms manufacturer Krupp also had a massive building to showcase its guns and artillery. It was basically a showcase. God dang it. I'm going to step on you every time. Showcase its guns and artillery. It was basically a showcase of what would be used in 20 years' time during the First World War. Norway had a very unique exhibit at the fair, the Viking ship. However, it was likely not so enjoyed by the fair organizers. Recall this was a fair to honor the story of Christopher Columbus, made up shit name, and how his discovery of America made him the first indoctrination of lies of history. Okay, I have to say that. I got to insert people. America made him the first European on the continent, thus the start of real history. If there was a before Columbus, it would throw off the entire myth being created. The Norwegians had long known that their Vikings had been in the Americas around 1000 AD, if not far earlier. Hence, Norway built a replica of a Viking ship and had it sailed across the Atlantic. In parentheses, another shot in the historical arm, proving such ships could make the journey. End. All the way to the Chicago Fair, the Viking was 76 feet long, a single sail and rigged with oars. It was captained by Magnus Anderson. The Viking ship stayed in North America after the fair in Lincoln Park first, and then after 1996 to Geneva, Illinois, Lincoln Park. An American idiot. Add, interestingly, one other Norwegian building survived the fair. It was called the Norway Building and resembled a stave kirk church. It was moved to a United States Norwegian settlement after the exposition, and some 140 years later was shipped back to Norway and put up in its original building city of Orkanger. I visited this kirk in 2021, and while a nice looking building, it most certainly is a building constructed during the time of the exposition. I did get an interesting energy from it, as though I felt thousands of people going past me, which was interesting, as I later found that this building was positioned near the Great Waterway, first on the walkway from the large structures to the country buildings. Thus, many of the fairgoers would have walked right by this building to see the other buildings or the midway. I plan further trips to this church to see other memories of the exposition that can be discovered. And then we'll get into the world's original Ferris wheel. Not that bullshit in England. Excuse my language. The Book of Enoch. All right, here we go. Chapter 91. The concluding section of the book. Yes. And now, my son, Methuselah, call to me all thy brothers, and gather together to me all the sons of my mother. For the world calls, listen to that, and gather together to me all the sons of thy mother. For the word calls me, and the Spirit is poured out upon me, that I may show you everything that shall befall you forever. And thereupon Methuselah went and summoned to him all his brothers, and assembled his relatives, and he spake unto all the children of righteousness, and said, Hear, ye sons of Enoch, all the words of your father, and hearken aright to the voice of my mouth. For I exhort you and say unto you, beloved, love of righteousness, and walk therein it, and draw not nigh to uprightness with a double heart. Y'all know what that means. Don't sit there shaking and smiling and then snatching away to deceive and destroy. Love is an abundance. It has no other meaning. It has nothing to do with sex or this or that, all the other stuff. Those are afflictions misinterpreted as perversions of love. I love that little boy, and that's a perversion. The mind knows better. The soul misguided knows not. And associate not with those of double heart, but walk in righteousness, my sons, and it shall guide you on good paths. And righteousness shall be your companion. Righteousness is nothing but order, natural order. The laws of the land have nothing to do with laws of man. And righteousness shall be your companion. For I know that violence must increase on the earth, and a great chastisement be executed on the earth, and all unrighteousness come to an end. Yea, it shall be cut off from its roots, and its whole structure be destroyed. And it's funny how they made everybody such perverse and unnatural and so unrighteous. So is a time happen or a time happening? As above, as below, as yesterday, could be yesteryear, or it could be tomorrow. And righteousness shall again be consummated. And listen, and righteousness shall again, key words, be consummated on the earth. And all the deeds of unrighteousness and of violence and transgression shall prevail in a twofold degree. And when sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence and all kinds of deeds increase, gaslighting, blasphemy, a number of different things, all right, and violence and all kinds of deeds increase, and apostasy and transgression and uncleanness increase, a great chastisement, a great chastisement shall come from heaven upon all these, and the Holy Lord will come forth with wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on earth. In those days violence shall be cut off from its roots, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven, and all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire, and they shall remove them from the whole earth. And they, for example, the heathen, shall be cast into the judgment of fire. Remember, the tongue cuts like a sword. Does it look like a metal knife? Always have a clear understanding. Okay? And shall perish in wrath and in grievous judgment forever. So here you see it. And shall perish in wrath and in grievous judgment forever. And the righteous shall rise from their sleep, and wisdom shall rise and be given unto them. Sleep means what you're in right now. And it can also mean those who have been laid, who died by the hands of these things, who go against all that which is natural. And and wisdom shall rise and be given unto them. And after that, the roots of unrighteousness shall be cut off, and the sinners shall be destroyed by the sword, shall be cut off from the blasphemers in every place. And those who plan violence and those who commit blasphemy shall perish. It didn't say man or woman, those. So it doesn't matter whether it's a mother sucker walking around looking like a half lizard or whatever, a giant or whatever. It don't matter. You got to be able to read these things and interpret. And after that, because he's talking to the sons of, remember? It's letting them know. And after that, there shall be another, the 8th week, that of righteousness, and a sword shall be given to it, that a righteous judgment may be executed on the oppressors, and sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous, and its clothes they shall acquire houses through their unrighteousness, and a house should be built for the great King and glory of forevermore. And all mankind shall look to the path of uprightness. And after that, in the 9th week, the righteous judgment shall be revealed to the whole world, and all the works of the godless shall vanish from all the earth. Again, all the works of the godless, right? And after that, in the 9th week, do you remember the days and times? I hope so. The righteous judgment shall be revealed to the whole world. What do you think they're trying to do right now? And the world shall be written down for destruction. And after this, in the 10th week, in the 7th part, there shall be the great eternal judgment, in which he will execute vengeance amongst the angels. And the first heaven shall depart and pass away, and a new heaven shall appear, and all the powers of the heavens shall give sevenfold light. And after that, and after that, there will be many weeks without numbers forever. And time, we should not be paying attention to time now. And all shall be in goodness and righteousness. And sin shall no more be mentioned forever. And now I tell you, my sons, and show you the path of righteousness and the path of violence. Yea, I will show them to you again, that ye may know what will come to pass. And now hearken unto me, my sons, and walk in the paths of righteousness. Hava. And walk in the paths of righteousness. Hava. And walk not in the path of violence, darkness. Shana. That which separates, divides, conquers of self. For all who walk in the paths of unrighteousness shall perish forever. And we only got one or two more paths to go in the book of Enoch. It's a simple one. Not that big month I got over there. The Book of Giants, The Watchers, Nephilim, and the Book of Enoch by Joseph Lumpkin. Excellent background music. I love it. I just know, man, you get up here with your little kitty little paw, man. I can't even look at him with a mean face. It won't work. I get like grandma, grandpa. I can't do it. All right, here we go. Yeah, okay, we read that. I know exactly where we're at, but I was like, should I read that again? We're talking about the Manichean. But anyway, the Manichean versions of the Book of Giants, remember I said it's broken up? And it is, because this is how it reads. Hard, arrow, bow, he that Siam said, blessed be, had he seen this, he would not have died. Then Samizad said to Sam, his son, all that Mathawai blank is spoilt. Thereupon he said to we are until and that are in the fiery hell, as my father Verogadai was. Shamzad said, it is true that he says it is true what he says. He says one of thousands, or one of thousands. Blank Siam thereupon began. Blank Mahawai too in many places. Blank until that place he might escape. That's like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well, there's one's long before that. I think cuneiform is all a bunch of bullshit too, y'all. Anyway, I really do. I think somebody was drunk raw tea back then and said, look, we're just going to make up a letter and a lot of language right now, brand new too. Anywho, this is broken up from the tablets, the jade tablets, y'all. Not everything was there. A lot of things were destroyed. And how, I wonder? What kind of calamity could have created this? Now, there's a lot to read here, but we're not going to do that. It's a lot. And it's broken up, and y'all be sitting there going, what the hell is Red reading? So it's going right here, okay? The ends of the translation. That's purely a translation, what it is. And at the end of it says, numerous blank, hearer, at blank, like unto a garment, blank, like, blank, to the master, blank, like, blank, and a blacksmith, the goldsmith, blank, to honor the blacksmith, to blank, one, to blank. So it wouldn't be worth reading it all unless you really, really had a clear understanding of what may be laid down. I could read it all. It's 2.5 pages. And then you can ascertain and imagine, because you know you're not going to dig deep inside. In the Manichean version, the watchers were demons. In other versions, they are fallen angels. In most versions, the children of the watchers were demons. But even in the earlier versions, there were watchers that were considered so evil as to be Satan-like. Let us examine a few viewpoints of demons and devils and watchers and giants. Lucifer and Jesus are the same. One Enoch, 14:8, train 11. The giants who were begotten by spirits of flesh, they will call them evil spirits on the earth. These spirits rise up against the sons of men. I should say man, to each his own. Jubilees 10:2-9. The sons of Noah came to Noah, their father, and they told him about the demons who were leading astray and blinding and slaying his sons. He prayed before his Lord his God, and said, God of the spirits of all flesh, you know how your watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. As for these spirits which are living, imprison them too. The Lord our God bade us to bind all. But the chief of the spirits, Mastima, hater, okay, enmity, okay, that's what that is, Mastima, came and said, Lord, that's a devil, a demon, or whatever you want to call it, Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice. If some of them are not left to me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men, he said. Let a tenth of them remain before him. Mhm. And it goes on and on. There is so many chapters of training. I'm not going to sit there. This is Rashi, Yaramil by Clint. Homer's, what you call it, 1819. Since the souls of the deceased giants were greater than human souls, inasmuch, listen, since the souls of the deceased giants were greater than human souls inasmuch as they also excelled their bodies, they, being a new race, were called also by a new name, demons. A certain angel was sent to them by God, declaring to them his will and saying, these things seem good to be the all-seeing God, that you lord it over no man. So lord it means to hang it over too. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. It's up to you. Okay? All right, and that's when they use the term man. Anyway, that you trouble no one, unless any one of his own accord subject himself to you, worshiping you and sacrificing and pouring libations, and partaking of your table. Be careful of the tables you eat at. Be careful of the company you keep. Because a lot of y'all, whether married, not married, dating, whatever, you keep company with that which is enough. I don't care what came out of it. I'm telling you a fact. You learned that as a child. A little piece of one of them children's running around. Or accomplishing anything else that they ought not. Or shedding blood. Or tasting dead flesh. Do you know what dead flesh is? Meat when you cook it. Or rotted. Putrid. Or filling themselves with that which is torn of beasts. Or that which is cut. Or that which is strangled. Or anything else that is unclean. I mean, see, they got you believe in eating meat and you're not supposed to, but they perverted all the vegetations and nobody even paid attention. Well, that's facts. Those who betake themselves to my law, you not only shall not touch, but if any of those who worship me go astray, either committing adultery or practicing magic or living impurely, or in doing any other of the things which are not well pleasing to me, then they will have to suffer something at your hands. Magic, what kind? He doesn't make a clear definition, but he tells you in the beginning, like any other of the books, there's a love all abiding, there's righteous and unrighteous, there's a cleansed and uncleansed. When he's speaking magic, he's been just labeling all the perversions not to partake in, right? Based upon what has happened by the we are the actual fallen. I don't want to get into anything else about to discourage that notion because people are starting to realize that. But we're falling in a different way. There are those things that have fallen that we fell. We didn't get rid of them all. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this damn position. All right. It is what it is. Again, unless anyone of his own accord subject himself to you, worshiping you and sacrificing and pouring libations, and partaking of your table, or accomplishing anything else that they ought not, or shedding blood, or tasting dead flesh, or filling themselves with that which is torn of beasts, or that which is cut, or that which is strangled, or anything else that is unclean. That means vegetables and fruit are living fruit and meat. And the word is living as well. That's why I have to get on this fast. And I feel it. I hope I make it 30 days. Oh, I'll be going live and reading. You'll see me. I don't care what it looks like. I will allow you to see me as you should see me. And yeah, there's apathy, there's fear there. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm ready. I can feel it. Don't worry about it. Don't think too hard about it. When I do it, I'm gonna do it live. I don't care what comes after that. Azazel was so evil, he was linked to the scapegoat mentioned in the Old Testament. Azazel was one of the leaders of the wayward angels. And they got all these niggas running around with L behind their name, babe. Y'all don't have a clue as what y'all doing, just following. Leviticus 16:5-10. Aaron shall be cast lots on the two goats, one lot for the Lord, and the other lot for Azazel. Aaron shall present the goat on which the lot fell for the Lord, and offer it as a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell for Azazel shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement over it, that it may be sent away into the wilderness to Azazel. Damn, that's deep. We're going to stop right there because we're getting ready to go to, and I'm going to read Rashi, Yaramel, and Yaramel. I'm going to read those because they go together. All right. I'm going to read Irenaeus against heresies, and that's quatrain 115:6, second C. Anyway, Marcus, you maker of idols and inspector of portents, experienced in astrology and magical skill. Through these, you confirm the doctrines of error. You show signs, and isn't science and math, NASA, and all that? In order for them to succeed, it has to have a form of error, and yet people blindly believe and follow this skits, this zenny, this blackness. Show signs to those led astray by you, undertaking of apostate power which your father Satan, Beelzebub, always orchestrates for you to do through the angelic power Azazel, making you the precursor of godlike villainy. And we'll pick up on the Rashi. Woo! And Aramel. Oh man, we read those tomorrow. Son. Damn, it's after 3 o'clock and I'm freaking starving. Not starving like I haven't had nothing ever to eat. All right, people. Well, that was a good read, man. I wish we'd stayed on that one. So we were looking at when they were rounding and finding Africa. Okay, and we got to the traffic with the oriental parts of the world. This is America being the latest and most accurate description of the New World, Book 1. Book 1. Okay, by Kimberly R. Norton, and I told y'all to look up her. And John Ogilvy. I expressed y'all should look them up. After this prince's death, the work lay still a while, but in a short time, King Emmanuel, his successor, freshly undertook the business once more, sending Vasquez da Gama with 4 ships who passing through many dangers with great difficulties, anchored at least before Calcutta, and was the first of the Europeans that found a way to the East Indies. And now, I'll just start off with that. But Christopher Columbus, 5 years before Gama's expedition to the East, had been employed in Western discoveries, which proved very successful, that he found no less than another world, which soon after from his name is Vespucius, it's spelled different, people, okay, Vespucius, was called America, so that the division of the world by the ancients, in parentheses, concerning which they had so long erred, and were utterly mistaken in, was now made manifested by experience, and in undisputable demonstration. For formerly the whole world was known by no other names than Asia, Africa, and Europe. But now, those 3 are found to make but one part of what encircles the universal globe. Because in the south lies a second known no further than by its coasting, and superficial margins. And the third part being here. The third part being what? Being being the New World of America, excuse me. Here it will not seem amiss, having proved that Africa was more than coasted by the ancients, to engage in search with some scrutiny concerning this America. First, whether at any time it was known by the ancients, and next by what people and when first inhabited. About the former, the learned of these latter times jangle amongst themselves, for some of them will needs ascribe so much honor to antiquity. She means too many goddamn big words, and the original book is not written like this. Declining the worthy phrase, that's what niggas do. Phrase, and I mean that in every disgusting way. I do. So any nigga watching this you writing, you better make sure it's right. Because there's gonna be people reading, they're gonna hold you accountable. For some, okay, former and learn and next one, I got off, excuse me. Decline the worthy phrase of those that made so wonderful discovery as if they of old, and many ages before had done the same, or at least that this new world to them was no unknown, maintaining this their bold assertion from the authority of what they find, both in ancient Greek and Latin authors. First, especially in the learned Plato, who, as you know at large, described a new Atlantis, lying beyond the Straits of Gibraltar, whose coast is surrounded with two vast seas that are so thick with scattered islands. By these seas, they understand the Atlantic and Southern Sea by the many isles, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, California, and others. And we know those are not the terms if we were to go back 400 or 500 years. And others, which tell 200, lie sprinkled along the coast of America. But it cannot be made out that Plato describes aught but a fancy, his own idea, not a country that ever was, is, or shall be, though he sets it forth so accurately and with such judgment as if he had taken a survey of the place and found such a land indeed. And we already know these lands were surveyed millennia ago. In like manner, Diodorus Siculus undertakes to prove that America was known to the ancients, telling a story how the Phoenicians were driven by a storm from the coast of Africa, the Phoenicians, westward, falling at last upon a great and altogether unknown island, which our late expositors take for America. Must it therefore be so? Surely not, for it is only a bare story, without any proof or the least testimony. They endeavor to make Aristotle bolster up their opinion that he had a knowledge of this new world, which, with no small pains, is always going to these Greek fucktards. Anyway, they pump from these words, that's their only way to go. Beyond the Herculean pillars, certain Carthaginian merchants penetrate the Atlantic Ocean so far that at least they found a vast yet uninhabited island, producing nothing but herbage, plants, and wild beasts, yet interlaced with many meandering rivers, abounding with several sorts of fish, lying some days sail from the continent. They landing found a soil so fertile and air so temperate, excuse me, that there they settled, and were the first planters of that isle, and war. That's no way in the world. And war, the first planters of that isle. But the Carthaginians, having intelligence thereof, prohibited all persons whatsoever upon pain of death to go there, fearing the place being so much commended, all the people would be ready to flock there and desert their own, and so utterly unfurnished and deliberate their then growing commonwealth. Let me go ahead and read this last part because y'all gotta read John. I ordered his book too. She is attempting to, I don't know if it was a game, to use terminology and words that are unrequired. This is what niggas and Negroes do who want to seem like status stuff. But how could the Carthaginians find America without the use of the compass? How happened it that they were so taken with the fertility of this their newfound land, when the adjacent countries and fields about Carthage are eh, are everywhere flourishing, and most luxurious, so that it may better be supposed that what Aristotle found so long since may rather be the Canary Isles or Great Britain than America. The Greeks having then also made some inspection into the British Isles, they would also make you believe that Vigil, the prince of Latin poets, had known the New World in these verses. And it's insert whatever, lib 6. There There's the prince of the promised us before, divine Augustus Caesar, who one more shall golden days bring to the Ausonian land, kingdoms that once old Saturn did command, Ausonian, and shall his power to India extend beyond the annual circle, and beyond the sun's long progress where great Atlas bears, laden with golden stars, the glittering spears, graves, hic ver hic left. Tibi quum prometi Scipius Audus Augustus Caesar divium genus adu condit secula qui professlitio regneta per ava saturno quandum super and grammatis and endos perfect imperium. Gessa extra sedes tellus extra ani socles vias ut clefia atlas exim humano torquet stelis auditibus autumn. That's some jack Latin, because I fucking haven't studied Latin in a long time. I need to get that Latin book I got out and study that shit. Anyway, we'll pick up the rest of this tomorrow as well. On Monday. See how there's a little bit of telling in every damn book, whether it spears, the land. Here, let me share this with you again. Check this out. This might give you all, that's why I say America. I always see you put me that, but I put it there because that is not what I know. Ausonian land, Indian. Ausonian land, Indian. Hindustan was Hindustan of Upper Ethiopia. Or lower, whichever direction you want to make it. It's like a pie or a puzzle. You could take a slice or you could put the pieces together. It's up to you. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading. I'm hungry. I got to eat something. It's an hour and almost 40 minutes. Let me give a shout out to everybody that came in, and I'm going to sign off. Grand Elevations, brother. What's going on around the small foot? HGR, peace. What's going on? Blessed Grey Wolf, peace, brother. Equator 7, peace, brother. What's happening? Rip Lord, peace, sister. What's going on? West Side, Yola, what's going on, brother? Mahalo. Yeah, you already know. Buddha bless. Yes. Music of the spirits. That would be a humming. For the ladies, I didn't see Mama Red. For the ladies and for the gents, I hope she didn't go and get shooty bang last night. I'm starving. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Share it. If anybody else comes along, get some more subscribers. We got a lot to read. It's obvious. I got to read the third book to Terra Infinita. And I'm still staying up to date to see if there's 2 new ones coming out. So it's supposed to be. And I will purchase those quick as a heart attack. Thanks for those who donate. I appreciate you. Yeah, just keep share the videos. Watch them a few times if you can. There's so much that I know it's hard to get everything. I appreciate y'all for those who are attentive to themselves and they pay attention. All right? Check y'all out later.